How do you do, kind folks?
Oh,
Slam and Skits back together again.
yes, sir.
Oh man, I gotta tell you,
Oh,
we've been through a lot these days. I
yes.
gotta say, there's a lot. Son, how's life with you this go around?
Kind of tiring. Going through a sober week just for health purposes. I think it's
Sober week because
uh
you're an alcoholic.
mildly, but mildly though.
Uh-huh.
It's not something like what some certain relatives have had to do with, but yeah. Uh,
Right.
so other than that, finally got that Black Knight pinball machine finished,
Nice.
and I don't have it anymore. And that is
Dun, 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 dun.
done. And yeah, how about you there, Chief?
I'm doing all right, I guess. We kind of skipped a couple weeks,
Yeah,
but we're back. We're ready to roll. We've got two in the can lined up already.
there you go.
So we're yeah, you're gonna see more of us. Hopefully, still get on that schedule. But yeah, it's been very stressful and busy, especially with
Yeah.
the holidays coming up. The joy of the world. But anyway, though.
Indeed.
You know what brings me joy whenever I'm down?
What? Is it a certain park somewhere in the wild, wild west?
I gotta go down to South Park to have myself a time. There's friendly faces everywhere and humble folks without temptation.
Yeah, I'm gonna meet some friends of mine.
I mean, yeah, there's ample parking day or night. People spouting hardly never.
Yeah,
And then I don't know what Kenny's line is, but anyway, South Park, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, man.
It's South Park. We are diving into probably the most consistently good adult cartoon that there ever was.
They seem to, yeah, there's more continuous hot streaks, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, it took a little spoiler. It took a little while for them to rev up the engine, but once they revved up the engine, they got it done. Let's put it that way. They
It,
got it real done. They
oh,
got it done real good. Son, you there?
yeah, I was just thinking about how that is true.
Oh, yes, you are correct there. But anyway, though, yeah. So South Park, what is South Park? Son, why don't you explain to the audience your interpretation of South Park, and I'll see if you're correct or not.
Well, it's hard to put into words. It's an adult comedy animated uh
It's an
ex-
adult cartoon.
yep, animated extravaganza, if you will, because it is. And you know, started out as actual like stop motion paper cutouts or something on like the pilot.
Wow, I can't believe you actually knew that.
I do. And CGI from there out. And
Uh,
kind of
you're close.
close-ish. Or
So the
you
show is created by
that.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker,
Yep.
aka the two people behind it. Really, I mean, there's a bunch of writers these days, but in the beginning, it was mostly them. They
Yeah.
they uh they're the head writers and all that. They're not the head animators, but they have a big hand in the animation department and all that.
Right.
It was stop motion animation when they first started and was cutouts and all that type of stuff. That's how South Park gets its iconic look because it looks like it's kind of stop motion because initially it was.
That's true.
But then they started to draw it, and in order to save animation and make it go faster, like the animation process faster, they didn't really animate a whole lot. They kind of just animated the mouths moving and barely so. But yeah, they just kept on cranking them out and kept on going. That's why South Park gets its iconic look, like cheap, just kind of not Studio Ghibli levels of animation or Disney animation or Disney levels of animation here. It's very choppy. But
no, what is it? Squash and stretch animation.
No detailed animation here. But to be fair to everyone involved, the writing is hilarious and it makes up for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yes, and we'll get into our favorite here. Into our favorites here. But anyway, though, and here's the thing too. They beforehand we'll get into it, but beforehand when they started out, they just did like crap humor, just like poop humor, just like Cartman gets an anal probe. Oh no, that type of crap. But then they started to get into more like commentary, like commentating on like stuff happening these days.
Yep.
Like the news and all that type of stuff, which we'll definitely get into. But yeah, they started to get into the news and the state of the world and all that type of crap, and started to make things seem a little bit brighter in our darkest times. A lot better than late night talk shows. Oh, roasted!
Oh, if not even toasted.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, though, yeah, that's basically South Park. South Park is about 4 kids doing weird, crazy shenanigans. But then it's kind of evolved to other characters and all that, kind of like The Simpsons, but instead of The Simpsons kind of cogging out after 10 seasons.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, South Park kind of cogged out a little bit toward season 20, kind of. But it's still going on, and even though it's a little bit worse these days, it's still pretty good. It's still cranking out some great wonders, if you will, and we'll talk about that. Starting with the beginning age. Yes, we're going to break it down to golden age, dark age, whatever that is, but we're going to start with the beginning age because the beginning age, it's got to have its own type here because
the ages.
I'll tell you, seasons 1 through 3 is something else entirely, honestly.
Yeah, a lot more joke based, not as story driven.
It's a lot more like, yeah. I mean, this Trey and Matt have kind of said beforehand that South Park before the movie, they kind of didn't really know exactly what they were doing. But they took like a class on how to like storytelling and all that, and they've been implementing this specific story in every episode these days. It's like, I don't know, conflict. There's conflict that happens and resolution that happens at the end of basically every episode, while bringing in a lot of the jokes.
Oh yeah.
But I would say seasons 1 through 3, it's very like this is the cheapest animation that South Park's gonna have.
Yeah.
It's very if you think South Park these days is choppy, back in those days it was even choppier. Okay, it was just oof. It looked like they were cutting. It looked like the pilot, basically. I mean, it was very similar to the pilot.
Wow. Huh.
And it was mostly like a random humor. It was more random than these days where they planted everything out. These like their first episode, Cartman gets an anal probe. Cartman gets an anal probe from an alien, and that's it basically. And they then there's this other thing about shooting. Like the second episode is like the kids go shooting with their uncle or something.
Oh,
And that's where we get the introduction of. Here's the thing: we get some introduction to some amazing characters. Like for instance, that one shooter guy that was from Nam.
oh,
You remember that guy?
I think so. Yeah.
He's got like this. He's got the the voice box.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And here's the thing too. They make fun of everything. They do not pull their punches.
Yeah. No one's excluded.
No. I mean, if they make fun of Christianity, which they do, they make fun of Muslims, they make fun of Jehovah's Witnesses, they make fun of Mormons. They have a fascination of Mormons, I'll tell you, but they make fun of Buddhists, they make fun of everybody.
Yep.
Everybody mostly equally, I would say.
Yep. They pass it around. Same with political views. Same deal.
Yeah, for the most part, yes. They do skew, admittedly, they do skew a little bit more on the liberal side because naturally, of course, I mean,
Well,
maybe. But they skew a little bit more, which we will talk about. But for the most part, yes, they do tend to have more of a middle ground than any other show on TV.
Yeah, that's
these days, especially.
Yes.
Like they do not pull their punches.
Yeah.
But yeah, so son, what do you have to say about seasons 1 through 3?
I haven't.
Really, do you remember anything about seasons 1 through 3?
I don't know if I've ever watched much from that. Most of the actual episodes I've seen are whatever you've had on the screen when I was present. And maybe clips from YouTube. And that's about it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, there's this.
The chef made his appearance, didn't he?
Chef did make his appearance. Yes, he was basically the 5th kid, basically, because he was in every single episode. Right. He was basically the wise old man, I guess, but he wasn't all that wise.
Ah, yes.
Oh, he got a little controversial with some stuff and all that.
Oh.
I don't know. Anyway, though,
Cowley?
Not outside.
Yeah.
Not outside South Park yet, but inside South Park, the character kind of did a little bit more interesting things. Let's put it that way. Having sex all the time and all that type of crap. But anyway.
Having sex.
They did do some commentary on some things too.
Oh. Yeah.
Like for instance, Big Gay Al and his gay amusement park.
I don't remember that one, but
that's like the 3rd episode or something. They mentioned that being gay is fine, and all that type of stuff, but
sure.
This guy, they really layered it on. They did not pull punches.
No.
My gosh.
Yep. Push.
I don't even know if South Park can do that type of thing today.
I mean, they would be pushing punches if
they would be, but I don't even know if they could do that today. It is.
That's like.
It is just. It's out there. Let's put it that way.
A serious punch with injuries.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, but is it funny?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's knowing what the time was back then, I mean, you gotta give him some credit, but you gotta give him some leeway there, especially for the time back then.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's not really a whole lot more to say necessarily about that. We get a lot of the crazy shenanigans kind of happening and all that. Here's the thing too, Randy, who's basically now the fifth South Park kid these days.
Yeah.
He is hardly shown in these 3 seasons. He's not
surprising.
It is surprising. He barely makes an impact. He's like an actual functioning human being. Huh. He's kind of boring. He's still the geologist, but he's sort of boring.
Oh.
It's kind of interesting, to say the least.
Huh.
Oh, yeah. In every episode, Kenny dies. So there's that, too. It's a running joke.
Oh,
Kenny's always dying.
The bastards. Yep, that's...
Oh, my gosh. They killed Kenny. You bastards. Yep. That happens every episode, for the most part.
And the last thing I'll say is, and I'll touch on it more when we get to the games section, but there were some notable things that happened in the gaming side of it that you may not know about.
I may or may not. I don't know, but yeah. But anyway, I mean, it's kind of a gem.
Yeah.
Was extremely popular because,
well, yeah.
Oh, hey, they're doing things you can't do on television. The Simpsons, move over. South Park's here.
South Park is my friend's mine.
Oh, yeah. Also, oh boy, this was pretty controversial. I think it was in the first couple episodes as well.
Probably.
Oh, man. So, Jesus has a talk show.
Oh, nice. That's par for the course, huh? If not...
Oh, yeah. Jesus has a talk show.
Jesus' talk show.
Yeah, he's like a main character in these couple seasons. He's like has his own like a Jerry Springer type show. It's oh gosh, I don't even know. I can't even touch that with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
you gotta revisit the early days.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very, 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 very interesting. And of course, we also get the who's the okay,
Mr. Mackey,
Mr. Mackey, get that guy who is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, when he talks about the testes.
Get what is his bald teacher's name? Their bald teacher's name.
Mr. Garrison.
Yeah, Mr. Garrison.
You just crap on my desk, Eric.
Yeah. So Mr. Garrison, he's got his puppet. He doesn't lose the puppet yet, but he's still got that puppet, and it's like Kenny having his jacket and you're not able to hear him. I mean, it's basically that. They're connected, you can't separate them. It's like his go-to thing.
Yep. And he was still Mr. Garrison, and more on that.
We'll get into that.
That is important when it comes.
Oh, yes it is. But anyway, though, let's move on to the movie. This is pretty big. Oh, yes. This is pretty big. You know why this is pretty big?
Why?
Because after 3 seasons...
All 3.
Or basically after... I mean, it was so popular. This show was so popular that as the airing of season 3 was going on, they released a movie.
Pretty good.
It was that popular. That's surprising. Okay, The Simpsons, which is still going on these days, seasons like season 34 or something like that. They didn't get a movie until like they've been on the air for 20 years, which is
15 maybe.
15 to 20 years they had to wait so they can get their movie. But after South Park got their movie after like 3 seasons, they greenlit a
pretty good. What year did that come out?
1999.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So that matches the gaming time frame I was trying to determine. Cool.
Yeah. And this is where they really shined with their commentary.
Yeah.
Mass media and all that, because this whole movie is a commentary on rated R movies.
Oh.
Because I can go into a lot of detail about it. I won't necessarily do that, but I will say this.
You will say.
You know what the criteria to be an NC-17 film? You know what the criteria is?
What are such criterion?
So one of the criteria is you have to have 500 F-bombs. And do you know how many F-bombs South Park has?
A fucking what? Yeah.
499.
Naturally, nice.
Oh yes.
That's a dumpy old touch.
Yeah,
Jump on it.
Nothing is affected. It's just 499. So technically, they can skirt over rated R. It's that ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. And they just so the thing is, this whole movie's about there's a Terrence and Phillip movie that comes into town and all that. And for all those who don't know, Terrence and Phillip is the Canadian.
Did that era also.
Yeah, they're the Canadian version of South Park. Basically, they do stupid.
Yep.
They do stupid stuff on TV. They're Canadians. Once again, they're fascinated by Canadians. All Canadians look the same, which is hilarious. They have bopping heads.
Almost. It's more crude than the main American characters, I guess.
Yeah, and like they all have bopping heads. Like their heads just bop up whenever they talk.
Yep.
It's hilarious. And
oh yeah,
they actually retconned Ike. I think like Ike is Kyle's younger brother. Ike also had that bopping head thing, so I think they kind of retconned him and be like, oh yeah, he's adopted because he's Canadian.
Yes,
which is hilarious. But anyway, so Terrence and Phillip movie comes into town. They start swearing and cussing, and then the kids start cussing and swearing to the point where Kenny cusses and swears to the point where he dies and goes to hell.
Naturally.
And then he meets Satan, who is in a gay relationship abusive gay relationship with Saddam Hussein.
That's right. I remember
And Saddam Hussein is like, they don't draw him. He's an actual picture of Saddam Hussein.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Satan has a I Want song like Disney princesses.
Naturally again.
And this whole movie is a musical as well, which is also pretty hilarious.
Good, but they all need to be made fun of. Yeah.
What?
Your fish broke?
What?
Because they all need to be made fun of.
Oh well, yeah. then Kyle's mom. Kyle's mom blames Canada for the Terrence and Phillip movie, the entirety of Canada.
Yep.
And then Canada is about to start World War III because America's doing that type of stuff or whatever. And all of a sudden, Satan comes out of the underworld and throws Saddam Hussein out of hell because he's too evil for hell. And then
Wow.
it actually ends pretty beautifully. Kenny sacrifices himself. And
Yeah.
it says you actually see Kenny's face for the first time and hear Kenny's voice, who actually, this is pretty interesting. You know who played Kenny in the movie?
Matt or Trey.
No.
And it was this random ass celebrity named.
No.
Oh, a no one that no one knew named.
Mike Judge.
Oh, he was kind of in a celebrity status at that point. That's
Yeah. Mike Judge, the creator of Beavis and Butthead
Yeah.
and King of the Hill, voiced Kenny for that one line that he says. He says, "Goodbye, guys." And I gotta say, it's touching. And he voiced Kenny. It's pretty touching.
Cool.
But yeah, that's basically the South Park movie. It's an enjoyable ride. This is the best thing that they've done up to this point. It is so good. Everything is absolutely hilarious. Especially, oh gosh, like seeing Saddam Hussein was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And Saddam is, not a good person, but
No.
seeing him in this movie is like hilarious. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing's about the movie industry, and they made some excellent points. And from this point on, basically, for the most part, not all the time, but for the most part, South Park would be known as the commentary show that whatever comes on screen, it's gonna be commentating on something.
Oh.
It's because of it's basically, and I don't have like Trey or Matt to like back it up really, but
Right.
I have a feeling that after this movie, after the success of this movie, Trey and Matt decided to just make better scripts.
Yeah.
And become the sole writers, because also what happened was in the first 3 seasons, and I think it was only in season 2 actually,
Maybe
they shared writing with other people because they were working on the movie.
Huh.
But then they became the sole writers of South Park from then on. They were going to make better scripts, have more commentary on just any old thing, and not necessarily be like a Family Guy anymore with the random humor and stuff like that, which we'll get into with our next little bit here, the golden age of South Park.
Featuring, if you think the HBO.
Oh yes, this is the one where they just go balls to the wall with the jokes, but make them well written and actually hilarious.
But did they go walls to the ball?
Oh, they did.
I love it. That's a new phrase I'm coining. Walls to the ball.
Well, they actually did with
Exactly.
that meme where Randy bounces on his balls and all that. He actually did that. So
yeah, you're right. Well, what are you doing? You should doing.
And also surprisingly, they actually did kill off Kenny for a good long bit.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, because of the movie, they actually killed him off for a very long time, actually.
Yeah.
It started a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of serialization where Kenny kind of took over Cartman's body for like a few episodes and all that.
Oh,
And it wasn't Kenny who was the fourth kid, it was Butters. Butters became the fourth kid
Bears.
and kind of replaced Pip as like the punching bag. You remember Pip?
Oh, the little British kid.
Yeah, the little British kid who really
He did make.
Trey and Matt just absolutely despised. So they kind of killed him off in his own episode. And
I see a comparison. You know who Pip's Family Guy equivalent is?
who's who,
Oh, Patty
Stewie.
Oh no, of course not. No, Pip equals Patty Tanajip.
Oh gosh.
See what I mean? Like the creators didn't like the character, despite what the audience thought. Hashtag bring back Patty T. And,
Bring back Patty T. I mean, Patty T is, and also Pip was annoying. Patty T's annoying. I mean, yeah, it lines up.
But Patty, at least, I don't know, just his random appearance is just beautiful. But we've already talked about Patty Tanager.
Patty Tanager, the caddy manager, would have thought about it. Anyway, though, back to Family Guy, or no, back to South Park. What am I talking about? So, a few things come to mind. Like, for instance, here's the thing. After, they got writing and, started doing more and more good scripts and all that, they came out and said that they really hated Family Guy. Like, they hate Family Guy's jokes because it's so random. So they made a whole episode about Family Guy where you think that's bad. And I gotta say, I'm a big fan of Family Guy, but I love this episode. I mean, especially modern Family Guy.
Well, yeah.
It's pretty true.
Yeah.
It's pretty true. However, I still like it. I still watch the compilations, and it's still hilarious. Just how random it can really be. But yeah, I mean, it's also because of South Park that Family Guy actually started commentating on what they wanted to comment on.
Oh, yeah.
To varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
A lot of it not successful, in my opinion. Like certain things. Anyway, but we're not talking about that.
Yep.
South Park, though, they went balls to the wall and they did everything. Like, for instance, they commentated on 9/11, basically, I don't even know, like a couple weeks after 9/11 happened, because of their animation. Like, the animation is the only thing that makes it long, right? But they can make an episode a week when normally it takes like a couple months to make an episode.
Yeah.
Which is insane. It is absolutely insane that they can do that. So, but yeah, they made a commentary on 9/11.
Yeah.
Basically weeks after 9/11 happened. And they hit it. They hit the points right, that type of stuff. It's really quite nice. I mean, it made America feel just a tiny bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, Cartman basically goes to see Osama bin Laden and beats him up like Bugs Bunny with Elmer Fudd, basically, and it's kind of hilarious.
Does Osama appear like Saddam as a photo?
No, they draw him.
That would have.
You know who they didn't draw?
Uh,
Mel Gibson.
oh yeah, I haven't. I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah, they did an episode where they commentated on Passion of the Christ because a lot of people back in the day, a lot of people were saying that Passion of the Christ was anti-Semitic,
Ah,
but there were a lot of Christians that were like, "Oh no, this isn't anti-Semitic." I'm not going to get into that debate, but they made an episode on that, and they kind of predicted Mel being kind of crazy
and then further
and anti-Semitic, and
further cemented by his infamous Family Guy appearance. His apology, if you will. Look it up if you want to know.
Which he did, in fact.
Oh, that was
from all that.
That's even better.
I can't believe Mel Gibson came back from the explosiveness that what he did. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Mel Gibson's episode. Oh yeah, it's real good. Another great episode. What?
How about a Man Bear Pig?
That is a whole subject. You ready for that?
Sure. Al Gore, anyone?
Oh yeah. So here's the thing too, right? They comment on everything.
They do.
But they're not shy to admit that they were wrong. So Al Gore, back in the aughts, if you will, was all about global warming, all about climate change and all that stuff. He was just spouting it to the high heavens about climate change and whatever, global warming, which is real, but, whatever. Anyway, back in the day, Matt and Trey were like, this is hilarious. Let's do something here. So instead of global warming, Al Gore spouted around saying Man Bear Pig exists.
Oh, that's why that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah. Which it's half man, half bear, and half pig.
And third.
No, it's not. No, he says half man, half bear, half pig.
So it's a 1.5 being.
Exactly. That's what makes it funny.
That's even better. I like it.
I watched this episode. It's hilarious. But anyway, but yeah, Man Bear Pig doesn't really show up in the episode. He flies around. Al Gore tries to fly around like Superman. He wears a cape and he's like has his arm stretched out and it's like running around like he's flying.
Yep.
Super Gore or something. It's Super Al. It's hilarious. But later on, and this is in the Dark Age, but something good though. Later on, Matt and Trey did admit that they might have been wrong and that global warming is happening and does exist, and that Al Gore may have been right all along. So they started showing Man Bear Pig whenever they have a episode that relates to global warming or they want to talk about global warming. Instead of global warming or anything like that, they talk about Man Bear Pig.
Or the MVP. The MVP, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. They talk about so instead of global warming, they never mention global warming. They only talk about Man Bear Pig. That's it. And I gotta say, there's an episode later on. We're getting to way too far ahead, but there's this episode where Man Bear Pig becomes like a mob boss, and it's hilarious. We'll get into that. But anyway, though, so bunch of different episodes that are absolutely hilarious. We can go on forever, but let's highlight a few. Another one Tom Cruise. That like
Oh.
there's a so there's this Scientology episode where oh yes, and it's a good one. So Tom Cruise locks himself in Kyle's closet
Oh.
and they beg him to come out of the closet.
That's funny.
They begged, I mean, everyone, including his wife at the time, Naomi Watts, come in and like beg him to come out of the closet because, you know, Scientology, they hate the LGBTQ community. So it's a little commentary on that. And then John Travolta, who's also a big, huge Scientologist, comes in and is like, and then he gets in the closet and starts crying with Tom Cruise. Oh wait, no. Okay, so it starts out like Stan is supposedly L. Ron Hubbard reincarnated.
Nope.
AKA the creator of Scientology, and then all the Scientologists start worshiping him as if he's L. Ron Hubbard. But then he tells everyone that he's not L. Ron Hubbard, and he doesn't even know who that is. Tom Cruise gets all upset and then gets stuck in the closet. He gets, he locks himself in the closet until he admits that he's L. Ron Hubbard.
Wow.
It's insane, but yet that's what makes South Park South Park. It's so hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Can you think of any episodes that you may think that are good? I know there's one.
Ghost of Billy Mays.
Yep, that's it.
Good.
Billy good. Mays, no.
Oh, Billy Mays, no. Dude, your brother's so good.
Which that's a this is an episode that's not necessarily commentating on anything.
True.
Necessarily. It's just a bunch of well-written jokes. Billy Mays haunts Ike.
Yeah.
So, son, you think of any other memes that can come out of this? We already talked about Billy Mays and all that type of stuff, but what you think of anything else that's been in South Park during the Golden Age?
Let's see. Michael Jackson. Is that when?
Oh yes. Oh gosh. But
leave it with that because there's too many to list.
Oh yes. I mean, plus he's kind of controversial because he may have been
maybe, and that's why he was on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
probably. Well, not specifically because of that. It's just because he's very eccentric. Like, there's one episode where he has a kid named Blanket, and the reason why he's there is just so that he can have it, like have him, and all that. It's very, very bizarre. Let's put it that way. It's like some of these episodes are very bizarre.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It is South Park after all.
Yes, it is. But a lot of the times the bizarreness turns into hilarity.
Quite. Yeah, that is true.
Indeed. Like, oh, shoot. What else? Oh, so there's this other episode where there was like aliens that created Earth for reality TV or something like that. A Planet of Dragons, Innovations, and so on. Like, apparently they put, like, across the universe, there's many different planets filled with many different things, like Planet of Giraffes, Planet of Elephants, Planet of Asians, and so on. Their words, not mine.
I see.
And they put everything together onto Earth, and Earth is a reality TV show. And the way, I mean, they're about to get canceled, and Earth's about to get blown up. But the way they save the day is by taking the aliens who are the are like the big producers or whatever. They take them to like a strip club, get wild amounts of cocaine into them, and basically blackmail them to renew their show so Earth can be saved. And Earth is saved because of that.
Oh, okay.
It's hilarious. It's absolutely
Wow.
hilarious. It's also not just that, not just the hilarity of it. There's also some heart mixed in with
Yes.
South Park. Like for instance, the Billy Mays episode. Surprising enough, even though Billy Mays makes his appearance as a ghost and Michael Jackson makes his appearance as a ghost as well.
Yeah.
It's actually about more than that. It has a lot of heart to it. Like one of the kids actually goes into the hospital and is on the verge of death. Not Kenny, but I think it's Kyle. Right. Or no, it's Ike. Ike gets in the hospital because he's going crazy from seeing ghosts and all that. And there's actually a lot of heart in that episode, which you gotta admit, even though you know a lot of the times it goes crazy, a lot of the times it works. And this is also Mike and Trey's golden age as well, not just South Park. I mean, they did a lot of big, huge things like musicals and all that. Book of Mormon took the world by storm for a good long bit. And they also made video games within this realm. And yeah, I mean, that beforehand, like in the early years, they didn't have any connection to any video games. So a lot of the South video games tend to suck. What?
Well, those did.
Well, yeah, those did. But once Mike and Trey started, using putting their inputs into the video games and all that, then they started to become really good.
Yeah.
In fact, I own these South Park video games in the double pack. So let's talk about them let's talk about them in a short span here. Son, what do you have to say about the video games?
So we'll skip the old stuff for now. We'll come to that at the end. But
we can talk about it now. This is the section for video games.
All right, very well. So I'll briefly mention that there was a South Park video game on the N64 that was just South Park video game. I think I have it, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a very crappy first-person shooter where you're throwing snowballs at something like that. And then there's, I think it's on the PS1, like a South Park kart racing game.
That one. Yeah, yeah.
That one's still probably, just for the South Park side of it, it's probably funny. The best thing from that era is obviously the pinball machine. And it's a good game. It's not everyone's favorite, but I like it. And
South Park Pinball?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that because I didn't think you knew about that. South Park Pinball.
No, I've played it before.
South Park Pinball game.
Yep, from Sega back in the day. Still the pinball making company. Yeah, fun stuff, eh? Good table. A lot of good tie-ins to the show. And when you don't put your money in, you have a Cartman like, come on, you could give his family a quarter. It's funny. Yeah, great table. Check it out. Then moving on to the later years, we have the Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole.
Oh, wait, no, we don't. Do you remember the
What?
Stick of Truth? Forgot the Stick of
Yeah,
Truth.
I said Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole.
Oh, yes, of course. Those are the better games.
Yes.
Stick of Truth is all about the fantasy and all that, and they actually made a trilogy of episodes based around the storyline of Stick of Truth,
So yeah, remember that. I don't know if
which
I saw it.
it's some of the best episodes I've ever seen. It's like a commentary on Game of Thrones, which is just absolutely hilarious, and it dives into the Black Friday and commercial Christmas shopping and all that. It mixes in that. It's great. And I also
Watched.
played a little bit, not a lot, because although these games are great stories and all that, the gameplay, at least from my perspective, is very difficult. Like it's a lot more difficult than Zelda Breath of the Wild, or yeah, which is another really difficult game for me. But yeah, I don't want. It's not an RPG, but you gotta play as multiple characters if you're playing one player. It's very difficult for me to say the least, but it's still great. I gotta say, the gameplay is pretty great. A lot better than the older games
Well,
that
I mean, pinball aside, yes. I mean,
the pinball is great.
pinball aside, but yeah, it's. I've only played Stick of Truth. I got through a good chunk of it, but I don't know if I finished it. But I remember it was hilarious, and it was one of the few times I enjoyed an RPG game.
That's
So
what I was gonna say. I didn't want to sound stupid, but it is.
it's
I thought it was an RPG, but yeah,
a turn-based one at that.
yeah,
Like Pokemon.
yeah.
And,
And also, for the most part, these games also are animated like the show, which is adds to the overall aesthetic to it. I would say. I mean, makes it a
yes.
lot better. Unlike the N64, that knowing the N64, they turned them into 3D models, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to revisit it. I don't know if I ever played it, but I think I have a copy. But I'll go look.
Yeah. But I don't know about that, but yeah, I mean, if it's N64, everything has to be 3D apparently. But once you get past that and you get into the good games that Mike and Trey actually participated in,
Yep,
it gets real good.
Yep, exactly.
And the gameplay is actually praised by game developer, like the game players and all that, which is very surprising because every game, like most games that are from a movie or TV show or whatever else outside of like, real games, I guess, they get heavily criticized by gamers.
Yeah.
Very few exceptions, like Spider-Man 2 for the PS2, I think. Is that right? Or am I?
Yep.
It's a
No,
PS3.
that is one of the best ones ever done.
Yeah, that was like the best movie video game adaptation. Yeah, but I would say South Park. I would say both South Park games are up there as well.
Yep, they're good. They're really good.
Especially the Fractured But Whole.
Never played that one on the agenda though.
I played a little bit of it. It's really good. Oh gosh. So the name of this game,
Punny. Yep.
It's a very interesting pun. Just like South Park the movie, bigger, longer, and uncut, aka a penis. The fractured butthole. If you say it fast, it's butthole.
Like, I got a crack in my hole.
Yeah, that's the stuff we're playing with these days, but it's actually very interesting. This time's a superhero game instead of the fantasy game. It's still an RPG.
Yeah.
The darker your skin color is, the harder it becomes. Just like in real life.
Oh, really?
Apparently, according to South Park, according to this game, the darker your skin color, the harder it is for the game. Oh man.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's an open world. And I think this one, I don't remember if Stick of Truth is the same way, but I remember this one is more-ish. There is a central storyline, but it's more open world where you can do more things than just, go from one thing to the next thing to the other thing, that type of stuff. You can actually do certain other. It's more open world. It's not like Zelda Breath of the Wild, but
yeah,
it's more open world, and it's literally almost exactly like the show. It's very, very down, and
good stuff.
Of course, they did a some kind of there's a little bit of a trilogy, like way back before the game was, I guess way back before the game and all that type of thing. Before the game was, I think, even announced. Like they did like a trilogy of episodes that were based on this game as well and all that.
Yeah.
No, wait, actually. The trilogy was a sequel to the game.
Okay.
Which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so Mike and Trey are very hands-on in regards to these games and all that. It's very nice that they did. Son, do you have to say about Fractured Butthole?
It's something I've been wanting to play, and hopefully we'll play it soon. That'll be a fun one for sure.
It's a great game.
And I gotta revisit the Navy classics. That's questionable, but they are old.
The what?
The classics by age.
Oh, maybe classics, yeah.
Classics specifically by age.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, all machine aside, it is up there with Fractured Butthole. Yeah, a good pen.
Yeah, and this is another RPG as well, so you'll dive into that. I think I haven't played it on PC, but I would expect these games to be better played on PC rather than, Xbox, which I've had it on, or PS4 or whatever, because I don't know, it's a lot easier to play, I would say. But then again, I have to try the PC version, but I can just tell it's better for PC.
I think it's better for a keyboard than a controller.
Yes, because it's RPG. You gotta go between different people and all that, and it's very hard to move between characters for at least on Xbox. But anyway,
I see. Yeah, I could see that. Cool.
But anyway, though, did you know this? They recently announced a new game.
Wowee! No.
You didn't know that?
GGJ.
Son?
Or no, what is it? GGG. Gosh.
Did you hear about that, son?
No, sure-ee. Wowee. Tell us more.
Yeah, so it was recently announced, like basically as of this recording 8 days ago. So it's not there's not a whole lot of story or anything really released about it. There's just the teaser kind of, you know, happened or whatever, but it's called South Park Snow Day as of now, which I'm surprised that they didn't do some kind of phallic name to it.
They might later down the road. Maybe it's a working title.
Maybe before release. Apparently it's going to be released next year, so I mean they better get started on that phallic name. I mean, you gotta go with the brand. Fractured Butthole, the Stick of Truth.
You know, like I don't know, the Hole of Birth there. Might as well.
No, that doesn't make sense. Bigger, longer, and uncut. I don't know, whatever. But anyway,
yeah.
It's called South Park Snow Day, and the characters are apparently going to be in 3D.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like that. Have you ever seen Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse?
I'm familiar. Haven't seen it, but
do you know how it looks?
Yes, and I'm already getting flashbacks to the N64 game.
It's sort of
surprisingly, that's not what I expected.
It's kind of like that. It's like from what the trailers at least showing us, it's like very realistic backgrounds, but popped in like them being 3D kind of. It's very interesting, but it's called very little story is being shared, but apparently the kids are going to be according to the release, like the official description here, the official statements. Join Cartman, Stan, and Kyle and Kenny in three-dimensional glory to celebrate the most magical day in any child's life, a snow day. Grab up 3 friends and battle your way through the snow-piled streets of South Park on a quest to save the world and enjoy a day without school. So people are kind of expecting, they're speculating that this
sounds like a mobile game or something.
It's not a mobile game.
That's too bad.
They have made mobile games though, but it's not. This one's not a mobile game. This is actually like a part of the trilogy. It's going to be released on Xbox, PS5, PC, the Switch, all those platforms.
Will we have an Xbox Series X or a PS5 by then? Who knows? At least you could
find. We probably will, because if we didn't, they would have announced a new console by now. Yeah. Or B, they would have said, oh yeah, this is for the next generation of consoles and all that.
I might set some money aside for one or the other.
What, PS5 or Xbox? Or the game?
One of the two, or the game.
I see. But according to many speculators out there, I'm not saying that they're going to do this, but a lot of speculation has kind of rose to think that this game is centered around the pandemic.
That'd be funny.
It would, but South Park already did a ton of that type of stuff, and people are kind of over the pandemic, as am I. So I kind of...
but it'd still be funny because it was that important.
Yeah, I depends on what they're wanting to do with it. It could be hilarious. It could be great. I mean, I trust Trey and Matt because they've made some of the best games that I've ever played, honestly. Even though they're extremely hard, I really do enjoy them. And they're still pumping out great South Park. So I have no idea, but I trust in them to make some good video games and stuff. So I don't know. I'll keep my tinfoiled hats to the side here, and
Oiled hat.
Go in with an open mind.
Okay.
But yeah, that's basically it for the gigantic video games. Is anything else you want to say there, son?
No. Hope to have the pinball table one day as well. Good game. Give it a flip if you find it.
Oh yeah, we're not talking about the pinball. I thought you were talking about the pinball
Oh.
game.
No. I'm talking about the actual pinball machine made.
Oh, okay. Well, there was a pinball game as well.
I played that also, and it's also good.
Of course. Don't trash the pinball machine.
Ball is life.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Ball is life. If there's a woman out there that loves pinball, please hit me up in the comments down below.
It's not.
Anyway, though, now let's move on to the Dark Age. The Dark Age-ish of South Park.
Sure. Tell us. Why dark?
Ish. Once again, big asterisk, big-ish. Because I don't necessarily agree that it's that bad of a Dark Age. I mean, Simpsons Dark Age, that was bad. Family Guy Dark Age, that's bad. South Park Dark Age isn't necessarily that terrible, but we'll get into it. So, the big thing to kind of come out in regards to the South Park, like in regards to South Park and all that, was with, I think it was season 19 or 20, when they started doing complete serialization. Now, of course, we've had some serialized story arcs, you know, kind of happening within South Park for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when the movie came out, Kenny was actually dead for a good long bit until they all of a sudden just started popping back in and all that.
Yep.
But this time, this was a continual story. Like, there's like every episode isn't none of the episodes are episodic anymore. Like, if there's, like, for instance, one of the big things to come out of this era of South Park is member berries, like these grape-like berries that kind of says, remember Star Wars? Remember Darth Vader? That type of stuff. You will see member berries in more episodes within a particular season than just that one episode.
Well, yeah, of course.
Like, they will call back to it a lot. And for instance, one of the seasons they try to get Whole Foods into South Park. So they which they eventually did. It was a whole season of them trying to get Whole Foods into South Park. So they created a part of town that was sort of I don't know what it's called, Soda Sopa. And I forget what it's supposed to represent. It's supposed to represent a lot of rich white people kind of invading other, you know, cityscape places like Brooklyn. You remember how Brooklyn was? Brooklyn was kind of really
terrible.
Yeah, but then
a lot of brick buildings that all look identical with the same brick.
But then a lot of rich white people came into Brooklyn and shot up a lot of rent prices and a lot of type of stuff because a lot of rich white people were coming over. So you got to jack up those rent prices. And they started developing and starting to push out all the poor, less white people and all that type of stuff, which I don't know what that's. I can't remember what that's called. It's got a term. I forget what the term is. But anyway, I'll probably come back to me. But anyway, so they did that, but then they abandoned it, and it just came run down again. It's kind of funny, but also a commentary on whatever that is called. I can't remember what it's called.
Okay.
It's not a complete thing about Brooklyn either. It's about many American towns kind of doing that. American cities tending to kind of do that type of thing. That's gonna kill me if I don't know what it is. It's on the tip of my tongue too. Anyway, though, so there's that. That's an example of the serialization and all that.
Yeah.
And of course, the season that kind of started the serialization was when Mr. Garrison became Donald Trump and started to run against Hillary Clinton.
Oh, okay.
So the thing was, they did a lot of crazy, stupid things with Mr. Garrison.
They did.
With their commentating on it. Now, these topics are not stupid, but the way they use it is kind of it's funny. Let's put it that way. It's wacky and silly, if you will. One of the big story arcs was that Mr. Garrison turned into Mrs. Garrison, and then later on turned back into Mr. Garrison, and then became gay, and then like completely straight or whatever, gay again. They've been doing a lot of sexual stuff with Mr. Garrison. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But on top of that, one of the things they wanted to do was Mr. Garrison, who was completely idiotically stupid, decided to run for president as Donald Trump. And they never say that he's Donald Trump, but he looks like Donald Trump. He acts like Donald Trump. It's very much inspired by Donald Trump. And what many people, including Matt and Trey, speculated was that Trump was going to lose the election and Hillary was going to be the first female president. But of course, that did not pan out.
No.
So they were kind of written into a hole there because they started their serialization of South Park. So now they had to make Mr. Garrison the president, basically, and they kind of ruined their entire plan.
Huh.
Their entire plan for serialization and all that. So they were kind of stuck, and that kind of exemplified a lot in their writing of the seasons because they basically had a lot of seasons ready to go, right? But then and writing and all that type of stuff too. But with Donald Trump's win, they had to go back to the drawing board and kind of redo a lot of stuff.
Huh.
Which is kind of hilarious to say the least, but it didn't turn out to be not that great of episodes that came out, because I don't even remember what episodes came out through this. But
neither do I. So,
but yeah, they still did a lot of hilarious things, like one that I will talk about coming soon to theaters, but a lot of it tended to fall flat, unfortunately.
I see.
Like, for instance, there's a big, huge controversy about Randy Marsh. Like Randy apparently quit his geology job and moved his family out of town to a weed farm and growing weed and all that. Integrity Farms.
With the towel.
Yeah, with the towel, yes, because the Towel loves to get high, so he's all about the weed. But anyway, though, a lot of diehard fans tend to hate this rendition because it's less about the kids and more about Randy, and Randy's kind of insufferable nowadays.
Yeah.
And all that type of stuff. But yeah, some of the story arcs tend to be not that great, to say the least. But that doesn't mean they still can't crack gold sometimes. Like, for instance,
true.
They took her jabs guy. That came out of this.
Yo,
that guy came out of this
Cool.
era. COVID, oh gosh.
Oh golly gee.
So you want to know how COVID got started in South Park?
Sure.
Or, I don't even think you're ready for this.
Let's hear it. Ready.
Oh, so
Ready.
Randy, what? Randy was trying to sell weed in China, and all of a sudden fell in love and had sex with a rat.
Okay.
And COVID was basically a sexually transmitted disease. And then he came back to America, and now the entire world is infected with COVID.
That's something else.
Oh, and then he had to go back to China to try to find the rat to get
China.
what?
Back to it, China.
Yeah, to get the rats so that he can find a cure or something, I guess. But also, this few episodes also touch on the Winnie the Pooh controversy,
Ooh.
which is also hilarious. How China banned Winnie the Pooh because they compared the president of China to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh is just beat up to death, and that's kind of hilarious. So there are things in this era of South Park that are hilarious. It's just few and far between compared to, every episode in South Park, just banger after banger after banger. And now it's just maybe a banger a season, probably,
Yeah, that's realistic.
So what do you have to say about this era, son? Have you ever seen any episodes from this era?
Not really. Maybe a few here and there, but I mean, you kind of summed it up. I don't have anything to add, really.
Oh, yeah?
So, well said.
Indeed. But nowadays, they're starting to come out of their dark age.
Yeah.
Ever so slightly. However, there is some more controversy surrounding South Park.
Naturally.
Because with the streaming wars, it's kind of big. So, Max, formerly HBO Max, signed an exclusive deal to air South Park and all the seasons up until like 2025 or something like that, right? But South Park is owned by Paramount, and they released their streaming service, Paramount Plus.
They did.
So they gave Trey and Matt more money to make more seasons, more movies, and more specials up until like 2020, up until like 2029 or something like that, or 2030. Like, they renewed it for just a ton of content, really. A lot of shows, a lot of movies, a lot of specials, the works.
Yep.
But every special and every movie is shown through Paramount Plus and are not shown on Max. Although Max has like the COVID special or whatever, they have and I think that's all they have. But Paramount has all the other specials and the streaming wars specials and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, they actually, and because they're making specials, it's kind of eating away at the seasons because, a season of South Park normally would have like, I don't know, 10 episodes, 20 episodes, something like that, 15 episodes around there.
Yeah.
This last season of South Park had 5 episodes.
Huh.
And that's it.
That's it, huh? Wow.
So they kind of
Oh,
categorize that season, including with the specials.
okay.
So Max is kind of angry and are suing Paramount over this because they shortened their seasons, shortened their deal in order for Paramount Plus to have all this content and all that stuff. So it's kind of a sticky situation now.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but with all that being
But.
said,
Oh yeah.
these specials are probably the best thing that South Park has made in a very long time.
Nice.
I mean,
I'll take your word for it.
There's this arc where Cartman moves into a hot dog because
Oh, cool.
or for some reason, I don't because he becomes a real estate agent and he sells his house and they have to live in a hot dog,
Oh yeah.
that restaurant hot dog thing.
Oh. Okay.
And like one of the things that he tries to get his mom to do is to have fake boobs.
I remember that.
Yeah, so instead, because she won't get fake boobs, Cartman goes and gets fake boobs.
He takes his mom there, and then he ends up getting them.
Yeah. It's just that type of crap, you know. It's hilarious. It's very nicely, tightly written, which is very. I mean, despite what I say about the Dark Age of South Park, it's not that tightly written as. Like the Dark Age isn't as tightly written as past seasons or even these specials.
Oh.
And there's the post-COVID special and all that, where COVID's finally over, but the kids, they finally get back to the kids too. Like it's less about Randy and more about the kids' relationships.
Good.
And they break apart and all that. Their friendship splinters. So in the future, Kenny, who always has that stupid South Park smile, that stupid South Park triangle smile. Like wherever he's at, he's always got that smile with a big, huge blonde beard and all that. It's instead of he doesn't say anything, but he is the most hilarious character in these specials. It is that good. Just the way they designed him is every time I see him, I laugh. It's just so good.
I have to check that out.
But anyway, he tries to time travel to, correct COVID and try to get the kids back together and all that type of stuff. And the guys travel back in time to when they were kids and fix their relationship and all that. And it's a great little story, It's back. South Park's back.
That's good. Well said.
And then there's the Streaming Wars, which is basically about, the whole streaming stuff with like Warner Max and Paramount Plus and all that crap. And also has Man Bear Pig in there too.
Good. That's important.
It is, and all that stuff. He's got the guy in there because Cartman turns his hot dog. That's the next season, the last season. Cartman turns the hot dog into an amusement park, but so he can only have it for himself. But but his mom doesn't want that. So through a bunch of litigation or whatever, she gets money. She buys the house back, and Cartman drags Cartman kicking and screaming away from the hot dog, even though he's been for like seasons now. He's been hating the fact that he has to live in a hot dog. Now they drag him away, kicking and screaming, Cartman losing, and it's just sometimes it's nice to see Cartman losing. It's just kind of hilarious.
Maybe so. I agree. I have seen bits and pieces of that.
Yeah, because I've been watching him.
Well, I've seen it on YouTube as well a little bit.
Okay. But anyway,
Yeah.
there's more seasons and more specials around the corner.
I'm
I don't
sure.
know if they're going to be doing that. I think what they're going to be doing is the video game first, and then they're going to be doing more seasons. But as of now, South Park isn't really doing a whole lot. But that doesn't mean that it hasn't been a great success. I would say even the 25 seasons have been the most consistently well written and well created show, cultivated show on television. I mean,
For sure.
it's a lot better than Simpsons, where it had a 20 years of the dark age and just now coming back, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, South Park is hilarious.
Absolutely.
It is the new age's version of Saturday Night Live, where they try to comment on stuff, but they actually have funny. They're actually funny, you know.
Yes.
South Park's actually funny, whereas Saturday Night Live is cringe to the nth degree.
Whoops.
But anyway,
South Park.
Hopefully, Matt and Trey continue to work on their stuff, and they don't seem like they're going to.
Disappoint.
It seems like they're not going to be stopping doing what they want to do, and that's good. Son, final thoughts on South Park?
Well, I haven't seen much of the newer stuff, but you know, everything I've seen from the show, there's been very little that I didn't enjoy or laugh at, and yeah, it's like so minor that I would have to really look into it to figure out what it was. So, yeah, good show, good stuff. You can't go wrong. Good pinball machine, good pinball.
I mean, you can go wrong, but the thing is, they've skirted going wrong, which is surprising.
They have. And that is an accomplishment, in my opinion. So,
oh, yes.
Hats off to them for that, folks.
Matt and Trey, continue your work. Just keep it up. Don't let up.
Another pinball machine, maybe.
I think that's up to the pinball creators, probably. I mean, they'll probably be up for it. But anyway though, guys, what do you think about South Park? Is it the best show on television today? Is it better than Saturday Night Live? Whatever you think, comment, let us know, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. More vids coming your way, and hey, take care, guys.
Take care, guys.